We're on.
There we go.
Tonight's invocation will be led by Commissioner White and the Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Janet. Please join us.
Dear Lord, we thank you for this day, for this opportunity to gather as a commission. We ask your wisdom in all of our decisions. We ask that you watch over the safety of this commission, of our citizens, of our town, and of our nation. We ask it in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Planning Commission meeting of August 12th, 2021 is now called to order. An announcement, item 4 has been tabled to the September 9th meeting, and item 5 has been withdrawn and will not be heard at this meeting. We encourage you to wear your mask while indoors and observe the 6-foot social distancing. The hearing room is set up to allow the maximum of 40 people. Please respect that limit and do not add chairs. The lobby and outdoors are for overflow areas. The meeting is broadcasted to the big screen in the lobby, and once you have spoken, please exit the room so others can sit while they wait their turn to speak. When your name is called, please come to the podium. Address comments to the Planning Commission, not the audience. And any questions you ask will be answered once everyone who has signed up has spoken. When your name is called, please come to the podium. We understand that you may have strong feelings one way or the other. Out of courtesy, unless it's your turn to speak, please remain silent and refrain from applauding, cheering, booing, or other verbal outbursts. This is a fact-finding hearing. There is no need to repeat what has already been said. If a previous speaker has stated the points you wish to make, you may simply acknowledge that so that the hearing may proceed. The applicant will have 5 minutes to speak. Other speakers each will have 3 minutes. Please respect the time limit. If you intend to speak, please sign up at the table in the back of the room. Names will be called in the order they are signed up on the sheet. Mr. Starter, please call the roll.
Ramey?
Here.
Janet?
Here.
Stafford?
Here.
Baker?
Here.
Gerke?
Here.
Goldsmith?
Here.
White?
Here.
Walker?
Here.
Erickson? Hobby?
Present. May I have a motion to approve last month's minutes?
So moved.
Second.
May I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Second.
The agenda is approved. The next item on tonight's agenda is the consent agenda. These items placed on this section of the applicant, which is demonstrate compliance with all applications of city requirements. These items shall not be discussed by the Planning Commission or the public. The consent agenda will be voted on in one motion. However, if two commissioners so desire, individual items may be discussed and or removed, voted upon as separate matters of business. May I have a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
Director Selman, will you read the items on the consent agenda?
Thank you. We have 3 items on the consent agenda. The first is item number 1, Plan Development, PD 21096, a site plan amendment to modify the existing freestanding sign located on this PD zone property located at 200 Macaulay Court. The recommendation is to approve the request to remove the existing freestanding monument and construct a new freestanding monument sign in the same location. Item number 2, the site plan approval, SPA 21097, site plan review for the operation of a gymnastics program from property located at 440 Broadway Street. The recommendation is for approval, excuse me, with 5 conditions. And I'll read the conditions into the record. All construction and construction activity is to be accomplished in strict accordance with the approved site plan and all approval conditions, and with the minimum standards, codes, rules, regulations, and policies as may now or hereafter be required or enacted by the City of Hot Springs, the State of Arkansas, and/or the United States of America, including the Arkansas Fire Prevention Code, whether or not submitted for staff review or Planning Commission approval. A certificate of occupancy shall be in hand prior to any use of the property. Number 3, separate permit applications shall be made by the applicant to Hot Springs Engineering Department, and permits shall be in hand for stormwater, drainage, and sidewalks as may be required prior to any work beginning. Number 4, a separate sign permit application, review, approval, and permit shall be required prior to installation of any signs. And number 5, if at some time in the future the parking lot is restriped, 1 additional ADA space shall be designated van accessible. Item 3, conditional use, CU 21099, a request to construct and operate a new Big Red convenience store over 3,500 square feet, located at approximately 1203 Higdon Ferry Road. The recommendation is for approval with 8 conditions, and I'll read the conditions into the record. All construction and construction activity are to be accomplished in strict accordance with all applicable approval conditions and with the minimum standards, codes, rules, and regulations and policies as may now or hereafter be required or enacted by the City of Hot Springs, the State of Arkansas, and/or the United States of America, including the Fire Prevention Code of Arkansas, whether or not submitted for staff review, excuse me, or Planning Commission approval. The development site shall be constructed and developed in strict accordance with the approved site and development plans, including but not limited to location of buildings, drives, screening, parking, and landscaping. Number 3, separate permit applications shall be made by the applicant to Hot Springs Engineering Department, and permits shall be in hand for stormwater, drainage, and sidewalks as may be required prior to any work beginning. 4, a separate permit application, review, approval shall be required prior to installation of any signs on this site. Number 5, all exterior lighting shall be fully downcast and full cutoff and shall contain all illumination on the subject property. Lighting shall be positioned so as not to create a nuisance to any adjacent properties. Number 6, this use and activity shall not impose any undue hardship or nuisance upon the nearby neighborhood. Number 7, the following list shall be completed and approved by the City Engineering Department before building permits will be issued. Number 1, provide retaining wall plans stamped by an engineer. Number 2, safety railings are required at retaining walls of 2.5 feet or higher. The opaque fence shown on the plans may be used to satisfy this requirement if the area between the top of the wall and the fence is covered by ground cover type vegetation and the end of the wall fenced off so that people do not have access to the top of the wall area. The plans must be revised to address this condition. Number 3, provide a geotechnical report with a Proctor curve for fill materials and compaction requirements. The compaction requirements shall be noted on the construction plans. 4, provide construction plans for the detention pond, including cross-sections, elevations, and details. Indicate the detention pond liner materials and the energy dissipation measures at the property line. And number 5, remove references to overhead power lines. And condition number 8, the applicant has an affirmative responsibility to demonstrate ongoing compliance with the conditions of this approval. The violation of any of these conditions so imposed shall constitute grounds for revocation or modification of this conditional use permit by Planning Commission per Hot Springs Code, Section 16279. And that concludes the projects.
Thank you, Director Selman. All of those in favor, say aye. Opposed, same side. Opposed? The consent agenda is approved. Item 1 through 3 are approved. The next item on the agenda is the director's report. Director Selman?
Yes, thank you very much. I'd like to welcome our new chairperson, Carrie Hobby. It looks funny to see Hillary sitting so far away from me. I guess I'll adjust. I want to bring your attention to the document. I think there's one for each of you. This is a distillation of the goals in the Hot Springs Plan. We adopted the plan itself last September. We got off to such a great start with this plan, and we're going great guns through 2019. And when we got to the beginning of 2020, things just kind of came to a halt. Fortunately, we had done the bulk of the work prior to COVID hitting this area, and so we were able to finish up. But we have gone back, and because the plan is long, thought that it would be helpful for people who wanted to know what's in the plan if we kind of distilled the goals. So that's what this is, and I want to thank Aaron Street and Katie Yamauchi of our Public Information Department for the absolutely gorgeous formatting that they did in this document. They're like magicians. Can't thank them enough. But what we've tried to do is kind of create a plan on a page for each of the categories that we have in the comprehensive plan, Forward Hot Springs. And we've got them right here. Now, many times when Planning Commission is thinking about especially zoning change requests, one of the things that we talk about is it consistent with the comprehensive plan? So this is an easy way for you to begin to make that assessment. I would always encourage you to go back to the original document, but once you've done that, and I know that most of you have, this is a way to just quickly refer to what the specific language is that you'll find in the plan. I want to remind everyone about the hierarchy of how things work with regard to land use regulations. When we start out as a community talking about our vision for the future, and the specific goals we have and the activities that we think will take us to that goal, that's what's in the comprehensive plan, and that's kind of the origin document. But in terms of trying to make things happen, it requires specific action by the board of directors. They are looking at funding us to completely relook at our development regulations. And those of you who have been on this commission for many years know that we are in dire need of doing that, not just for ease of use, but now that we have a new plan, to make sure that the things we identified as goals are things that we can ask people to do with authority. It's one thing to have it in the plan, but to make things happen, it needs to be in an ordinance that the board adopts. And so the redo of the development regulations will be the first step toward making that happen. And we're hoping that that will happen in the upcoming budget. Budget is the other way that we make things happen that are in the plan. If there isn't any money, then things don't happen. So when we are evaluating an individual project, I want to remind you that the rules are in the code, but the code should reflect the plan. If the code doesn't reflect the plan, you still have to use the code, but you need to redo the code. So that's what we hope that we're doing. So do we have any questions? Yes, we do. Hillary?
I'm sorry, but having listened to some of the challenges to us and to the plan, do you think that we made the plan too aggressive?
No.
Okay.
The plan, and I say that because the plan is an aspirational document.
It's hopeful. It's really strongly
It's,
hopeful.
it's not regulatory.
Yeah.
It says what we hope for.
But-
And then we take it to our decision makers to say, do you agree that this is a high priority, that this is a place where you want to put the public's money, and that you want to memorialize in the code so that when decisions are made, it has the force of law. But do I think it's too aggressive? No. I think it's far more aspirational than our previous plans have been.
Yeah.
I think
Our-
it's about
Yeah.
dreaming big,
It is.
and then
Yep.
if you get the little bits and pieces, and again, we've been through something that we have never been through, and I'm already seeing sculptures being put onto some greenways, and honestly, I did not think that was even coming, not yet.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful to see that, you know, we're still clawing our way to that future.
I
So,
agree. I don't want it to be, I don't know, maybe I'm just a little shy about getting pushed.
Well, they're big steps, but I think we can accomplish them.
Okay.
Look, we have some money now, so
We do.
that'll make a big difference.
I think that's the concern. Having participated in a lot of the discussions that led up to this whole thing and some of the events over in the convention center
Right.
and so forth, I think it's good to have an aggressive, forward-looking plan, but we probably also need to be careful to some degree about expectations.
Absolutely.
About what's behind that in terms of funding.
Yes.
Okay.
Because those are, there's a lot of aspirations, as you pointed out.
Mhm.
But if that becomes seen as this is gonna happen expectations without the funding or the very real plans to make it happen, then it could also turn people off. And, I mean, I've been fielding a lot of comments about the Majestic site, for example, and I'm not gonna, express is that good or bad, but people don't know what they're talking about in
Yeah.
a lot of
No,
cases.
you're absolutely
But
correct.
one thing they do say is, well, there's been plans out there and nothing has ever happened. And it's just my point to say, we've got to be aggressive, forward-looking, but manage expectations.
Exactly.
Thank you.
And
Yes.
what I do love about this plan is you
Yeah.
can go to each page and you can correlate them together, and that's where you're gonna find the important pieces.
Yeah.
So you can take each section, and where it might not say we want to build home ownership, it always says we want to build home ownership because we got to grow our base. We got to grow our connection to Hot Springs. During the summer months, we're very lucky to have an extraordinary base, but they go away. So how do we keep those people and keep them here, keep investing into our community?
Well, who would have imagined a few years ago that the citizens would agree to an $8 million bond issue to build Majestic Fields? That's going to be such a moneymaker for the
Yes.
city.
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful spot. If you haven't seen it,
Mhm.
it's worth a little hike over there.
Yeah.
To hand me that left over, I like to put it in my yard. Or-
Yeah, exactly. Well,
And there was a lot of public participation in this whole thing.
oh yes,
There was a
Yeah.
ton.
there was.
Before any of this was put down on paper.
Oh, yeah.
So the public, I mean, I wasn't able to attend any of those, but since the public had a say-so in it, I think we're gonna see a a lot of residual grassroots involvement once they start seeing things like sculptures going up and, you know, just little bits and little hints of stuff that's happening. They're gonna get behind it even more than they already are.
Yeah. We will
I
have,
think Brian's right, that was the
Yes.
beautiful part, is
Yeah.
how much public information, input there was.
Yeah.
into this,
we will be putting together other small summary documents, including one that links each of the goals to the specific actions that people named as things that they thought would be great. And, you know, will all of those things happen? Probably not. Will many of them happen? I expect that they will. And it is a 20-year plan. This is Hot Springs in 2040. So it's not all going to happen in 2021. But if we make measured progress through these things that are in the plan, and if we keep looking at the plan and thinking, you know, how do new circumstances, things that we didn't anticipate, you know, how do those change how we prioritize things? And as a planning commission, we'll be looking probably every year or 2 years at this list of things and saying to the public, come on in, we need to hear from you again. Here's what we thought was important in 2020. What are you thinking today? And making
Here's
sure.
what we got done so far.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Showing
The great thing
progress.
is, we're doing the measurable goals.
Yes.
You cannot preach a dream. You've got to have those measurable goals.
Absolutely.
And once you can pinpoint the things
Yeah.
that we have done to increase the value of our community,
I also would say that there's a component of priority in here that becomes very important. And that is particularly around some of the points on economic development. I mean, I love the history of our town. I love the nature of our town's very unique. It's got tons of things that set it aside, set it apart from many towns. But if you're looking for a job as a young professional in Hot Springs, you'll be hard, unless you're a nurse, and there's tons of those jobs out there now because of the pandemic so damn
Sure.
bad. But there really is very little for young professionals to aspire to in this town right now. And that economic development part will help become the engine for making some of these other things happen. So I just hope we have a sense of priority around some of this.
Yes.
I mean, 100% agree with you. I was one of the founders in the young professional group that's here, and things that we talked about that we wanted to happen, few did. But some that did, they have been the driving engine. But you're correct. We've got to find something that's going to promote them staying or
That's
wanting
right.
to move here.
Or wanting
Yeah.
to move here, and increasing our tax base, and increasing all those things that make the rest of this plan possible.
We have to stop being afraid of factories. You know, however you describe a factory, we've been afraid of them for a long time.
Well, and it doesn't.
We have space
it-
where we can build things, create things, give people an opportunity to make their own visions, and we just need to quit being afraid of them.
I don't think it has to do with that. I mean, the young professionals, they're not necessarily concerned about the job that they work. They want to know what their lifestyle is going to be like. That's more important to those of that age, is what is your lifestyle?
And we've got a lot of advantages in that realm.
do. We have a-
in this city.
Humongous amount.
But it's, I think
there's
it's
hidden
also
jewels.
not just factories, it's knowledge worker jobs. I mean,
Yeah,
if we
because-
could, you know, my dream would be to convince Walmart to put their IT department in Hot Springs. You know, I mean, that's, you know, growth jobs. It would, anyway, you get my point. I'm sorry to get on a soapbox, but
Well, and
I just think that's really important.
it's good that you point out how interrelated each of these categories are in terms of getting other things to happen.
Yeah.
Without economic development, without the natural surroundings that we enjoy here, you know, these other things don't hold together by themselves.
I
Well,
think
with
this
the
plan.
younger demographic, our workforce is changing from being bulldozer operators or linemen or anything like that, you
To
know.
skilled
They're gonna be
workers.
more IT based.
They're
So-
skilled workers.
So, yeah, so we have, plenty to offer with that.
Ben, I
I
would
think this
just-
plan here and, you know, the things that I've heard expressed are gonna go a long way towards making us a year-round city and not a two-season city.
Right.
Yeah.
Because in the past, we've only been a two-season city. We had race meet and tourist season,
Yeah.
and that was it.
Race
Yeah.
meet 6 months now.
It was
Yeah.
like a ghost town
So-
for, yeah,
Yeah.
because the race meet used to be only 3 or 4 months. And it'd be a ghost town until Memorial Day. And Memorial Day hit, and it boomed from then until Labor Day, and then everybody just kind of sit and do nothing till the race meet started.
No, I'm honestly think that we're sitting we're in a very big pilot seat. We've got lots of things that we can do. And this is just a good document to help start that process.
And we've
How do you know how
got
to
lots
fly,
of good
girl?
potential assets in this town too. I mean, think about what you could do with that Army-Navy hospital. I mean, I hate to see that thing just go downhill. I'm on the board of Preserve Arkansas, and we're trying really hard to come up with, you know, some interest in how to move, you know, some productive use of that forward. And right now, it's like you can't get anybody to touch it,
Because it's gonna cost $20 million for us.
to do the remediations and
Yeah.
studies
Yeah.
and everything else, yeah.
Yeah.
I really wish that Oakland would do a little more television advertising to compete with Saracen Casino in Pine Bluff. You know, they've got Jason D. Williams.
I don't know who that is.
I don't
Really
either.
commercials?
No, I don't pay attention to those. I pay attention to Oaklands. I turn it off when it comes to Pine Bluff.
I mean, I really don't know who that
I like
is,
the
though.
Oakland. I think it's very classy.
I do too.
Is he,
Jerry Lee.
Yeah.
He's a Jerry Lee Lewis.
Him player, not Jerry Lee, who was it? White hair married his cousin.
Jerry Lee Lewis.
That was Jerry Lynn.
I don't know if we need that. Arkansas already has enough of that stereotypical stuff. We don't need to go that way. No, but I mean, you're right. To have a brand name out there, I get you.
Well,
I get what you're
Oakland, I
saying.
heard Oakland hired an albino banjo player.
Well,
did?
There you go.
Yeah,
Okay. What?
Game over.
albino banjo player, Deliverance.
Oh, that's really the last thing.
Oh.
Okay, so we could talk about this all day, but let's, anything else on the brochure, the Hot Springs Forward?
Has this gone to print?
We have not,
Is this a preprint?
this is a preprint, yes.
There's,
Yeah.
I did just one very small thing I saw.
Yes, if you would point that out, where is it?
On the first page,
Okay,
it says on bullet 3 there, Hot Springs strives to be a forward-looking, and the F does not.
oh, it's not.
Oh, it's not highlighted, correct.
Yeah, okay,
See, great eyes,
that's
makes a
right,
great team.
Good proofreader.
for sure. Yeah, anything else you see, let me know.
Can we entertain a motion to adjourn?
Yeah, with no further business to discuss, we are ready to adjourn the August 12, 2021 Planning Commission meeting. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Meeting adjourned.
That's it. Thank you all.